4020.
The big story is a wheelchair story. I mean, I say big. It's certainly big in here because we're big fans of the wheelchair. And I think, again, it's mired with the fact that there are people within the wheelchair game that inadvertently are holding it back because there are personal reasons why things are not happening. And it's a shame because you know, I understand it from both sides. I don't know why there wasn't a little bit more trying to get people around the table. I understand time is difficult because now the Super League season is in a block that starts in June, so if you do have a fixture that can't be played, even if it's highlighted earlier in the year, there aren't that many opportunities still to play it. You would say Halifax and Leeds is not a million miles away, so midweek is always a possibility. You know, I get it's down sometimes to hiring the facilities and having them available, but we're in the summer holidays and there isn't the same sort of demand. It just seems a shame. I get that there needed to be a resolution of who won the League Leaders' Shield. It's a prestigious thing, and if Halifax had won it because Leeds have defaulted on a game because Leeds felt that a wedding came ahead of a match, I've no problem with that. If Leeds get docked to point, makes very little difference. It's discretionary whether you then take them out of the playoffs, and because they are defending champions, and because we only do have, like the women's game, 4 top level wheelchair teams, to take one of them out and put them in the Shield where they're playing 2 teams that have just started on the road to Super League, it doesn't seem to work for anybody.
Forgive my ignorance.
Well, you are the voice of the listener here.
Yeah, so was it a league game?
Yes.
That they missed?
It was a scheduled league game that happened to be on the same weekend as one of their players was getting married.
I knew there was a wedding.
And it was highlighted, apparently, when the fixtures came out, that this was going to be an issue in terms of the clash. I think what was offered was either the night before or the day after, and I think, again, with it being a wedding, it was felt that like that weekend was the one that they were sort of blocking out. But there was an alternative offered, which meant that Leeds then accepted that they were the defaulting team. 24-0, absolutely fine, that's what it says in the rule book. Leeds docked a point, doesn't really make a lot of difference at this stage in the season. But it's the decision then to go with what is a discretionary decision.
I'm not sure why would you take them out of the playoffs because they defaulted on one game.
Because it says that you can do that if you want in the rules.
But the ridiculous
and
thing
it's making a point, isn't it? That's what I was saying about, you know, sometimes it's more about making a point than what works best.
But look, equally, it's an amateur competition, isn't it? No one's getting paid. You know, weddings, rightly or wrongly, should come and probably did come and booked before the fixtures were released. And,
well, this is the thing. If everything was known about months ago, which is what we're told, you know, we only know what we're told, so, you know, then why couldn't a solution have been found months ago and not left until the last minute?
But even if you accept that game can't be played for whatever reason, and it's not going to get rearranged, the punishment that fits the crime fits the sport is that the defending champions get the chance to defend from a lower league position. Because, again, to the outside world, it makes no difference. We may well be forcing home a point of principle here, and there may be more behind it in terms of the personalities that are involved, that an example has been wanted to be made, but it doesn't read well to the outside world when the defending champions are not allowed to defend their trophy.
And what's the RFL position? What's the statement that was released?
They have invoked that, but they don't have to explain it. I think the other thing is it puts Hull into the top 4, which, even though the points go back to 0 for this round of 3 games to determine who gets the grand final, they're a bit disconcerted.
Which is definitely a late decision, because in the paper it says they carry over.
It is a late decision, because if they carried over, Hull couldn't have won it anyway, because they had 0 points. So they would not have caught with 3 games, either London or Halifax. So the fact is, you're putting a team in that can't win a competition, which makes no sense. So it's gone back to 0. But Hull are saying they're also in that process of moving from where they were to becoming a better team. They would have liked to have played in what is the plate, which is the bottom 3 teams, because the likelihood is they would have won it. and to win a trophy is really important, just for your development. And Sheffield and Edinburgh have done really well this season anyway as new teams. They didn't expect to win it. But when they're, Hull are now saying, we've got to play London, Wigan and Halifax, who we've already played, and we know we're not quite at their level yet, but Leeds are going to play Sheffield and Edinburgh, and Leeds are saying, like, we get your punishment, but it doesn't quite fit the crime, because you're making us play two teams that don't really want to play us in a competition that is now devalued by us being in it.
Yeah.
It's sort of everybody's a loser in all of this.
It seems wholly unsatisfactory,
including the game of Wheelchair Rugby League.
Yeah.
It's rugby league.
I know,
everything is rugby league, and it's just
I
it
think
could have been prevented. This is the thing; it's one of those things that
in
could
the wider
have been
picture,
prevented.
We didn't have Catalans in the Challenge Cup to defend their cup, because that was politics as to the French Federation deciding that they weren't going to play England. We've got an end of season international whereby England are going to Australia, but we've really got nothing here, and it's almost as if the impact of winning a World Cup 3 years ago is starting to be dissipated a little bit, whereas this should have been the element that rolled the sport out nationwide.
Politics.
Here's Kat, who is a person who actually pays their own money to watch Wheelchair Rugby League. So as opposed to there's another Kat. Maybe that's a representation on the table. As opposed to us who just turn up and get free sandwiches. But a person who actually pays money to go watch Wheelchair Rugby League. There are some people
whose opinion is more valuable than ours.
Frustrated with Wheelchair Rugby League at the moment, with the games on Manchester not having been officially announced. There are 3 rounds of fixtures in the playoffs. Manchester's National Basketball Centre, where the grand final will be held on September 28th. That's this weekend, Saturday. I can't go, I've got to go watch Wakefield Huddersfield. If my nephew wasn't going on the pitch, I wouldn't go. The University of Nottingham on September the 6th. That's an interesting, different place. And the Allen Sports Centre in Hull on September 13th. Now, what I would like is someone to announce broadcasting for those, because, and this goes to the Women's Super League as well.
The Shield games as well. So the double headers with the Shield and the playoffs.
So 3 games. So, Women's Super League, Men's Super League, Wheelchair Super League. They've all got Super League in the title, but only one of them is. Because we've got this mess here which can be avoided, but if I want to follow the Wheelchair Super League, where do I see the highlights? If I want to watch Women's Super League, where do I watch the highlights? There's one club, one match this weekend, the highlights were got up on YouTube today, so again it's 2 or 3 days later. And I know, but still. No commentary, camera works shaky. It's not super. What are we doing?
And yet we have got our league, which apparently is where we need extra content.
I did say on Twitter last week, and I shouldn't put myself out like this and say, I'll do this, but if you want your videos, a voiceover for them, give me a script, I'll do them, that's fine. No one's going to sit there for 5-10 minutes and watch a video with no sound.
But the other thing,
with no context.
Both the women's and the wheelchair, is that their grand finals are going to end up on a television channel, but there's no context because you can't see the highlights. So we know who to look out for, and perhaps who some of the players are that are really making a name for themselves this season. But you're almost like giving the world a game, and that doesn't work.